Welcome back to another episode of Helos and Homies. I'm here with Sollyy. How are you, brother?
I'm good. Geez, thanks for having us on, bro.
No, pleasure. Thanks for hopping on. AKA Spliff LaRusso.
Yeah, that's it, G. Shout out Vic LaRusso.
Yeah. Sydney's best kept secret, man. Let's get into it.
Ooh.
How'd this all come about? What age did you get into music?
I got into music pretty early, to be honest. You know, if you're a Pacific Islander, you know, it just sort of comes around naturally. You know, my family had a kind of like a rich history.
Yeah.
They migrated from South Auckland, so they brought a lot of musical culture with them. But, you know, growing up here in Australia, just influenced by Aussie music and the sounds you were hearing anyways.
Yeah.
So I got into music because my uncles used to play a lot of, like, they used to play instruments and stuff. So through them, that's how I picked up the guitar. Naturally, I started getting into my own sort of music, started exploring when high school came around. And then that's when I started making beats.
Yeah.
I started getting interested in making beats around 14, 15, so I would have been in year 9.
Yeah.
But I didn't really start taking it seriously. You know, it was still a hobby up until I started working with Becca Hatch, who's a bit of a kind of like a big name now in the pop scene.
Yeah,
I started working with Becca Hatch pretty early on.
That's
we got
mad.
connected through a mutual friend because she went to churches as well. She was Mormon as well. We were both Mormon, and then we started making songs together. I really was just looking for people to jump on my tracks. I wasn't expecting anything.
Yeah.
But you know, Becca Hatch had the rise that she did, and so, you know, through that I started to meet a lot of people. Started to, you know, sort of like get my name in the door as like a, you know, like a young producer.
Yeah.
Met Howie Beast.
What age was this at, you reckon?
18. I met How when I was
2018.
18. Yeah, so I was DJing for Becca, and through that I met How.
Shout out Howie.
Shout out to Howie. And through How, I just got a lot of opportunities that I probably would have never gotten otherwise.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, I was still doing a lot of stuff in the local scene. I ended up going to uni. I ended up going to AIM, Australian Institute of Music for Engineering.
Yeah.
And I also met a lot of creative people in that time who introduced me to a lot of, you know, worlds and different spaces that I had no idea about. And so through that, you know, this whole sort of like, I guess different ways of me getting into the scene sort of came around full circle. To me ending up at like Triple J, and that was through How as well. Ended up at Triple J, and then now, you know, this is sort of like my full-time gig. You know, I DJ pretty regularly, produce for a lot of artists, and then do radio on the side and put out my own music myself. So yeah, I would say I've been doing it since like 14, 15. Really.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
How often are you on Triple J? Is it every week locked in, or?
Yeah, so it's usually every week. Currently at this point, I do the late night shifts, which is sort of like, I guess, like the training grounds, if anything, because I just started last year. I started this time last year, actually.
Yeah, wow.
The way I started though was I got asked to guest host the spot on the hip hop show.
Yeah.
That's because Hal went on leave and he put me up for it.
Yeah,
you know, I'm forever in debt to that. You know what I mean? But you know, through that they were just like, oh, you know, we think you sound pretty good. We'll hire you. So I was like, but. Yeah, so I'm on there pretty like maybe once or twice a week, just doing stuff like that. But what I also do is I'll do fill-ins. Yeah. So if they need a presenter for one of their segments, like weekend breakfast or lunch or anything like that, they'll get me to do, or they call out me and just say like, oh, do you want to pick up a shift? It's really like a casual job, if anything, but it just happens that the stakes are a little higher than a regular job. You know what I mean? Like it's national radio. But yeah, it's been pretty good thus far. Like, people haven't really heard a voice like mine on the radio. You know what I mean? So some people have been like a bit funny about it, you know, as you know, we'd expect. But some people have actually been really welcoming to it, which makes me feel good to do it and stuff. So yeah, man, it's been a pretty wild ride.
Yeah, and how do you go about managing your schedule?
It's funny, like, because I was doing so much, like with the producing for people and DJing and radio now, and also just like trying to be on top of my own music, and also just general life stuff. You know? Just like general personal things.
Everyday shit.
Like I was starting to get a bit disorganized and a bit like I would miss certain things, or, you know, not intentionally, but just, you know, just because I was across so many things, it was hard.
Yeah.
So I recently just got somebody on board. I recently just got Adele on board. She's like sort of like my assistant now.
Yeah.
And so she helps me sort of pattern out what I want to do. It sort of helps me organize it and structure it in a way that I actually wouldn't be across. You know, I was on top of it for a good while it was manageable, but you know, it sort of got to the point where it was like a lot. You know,
Yeah,
so I was
yeah.
like, "Fuck, actually, I might need the help." So yeah, I actually just got her on board at the start of last month. I just pay her 20% of all my bookings, and she just, you know, sort of like runs my emails, like does my invoices, and also helps me pattern out like my releases and gets me into contact. Yeah, so
That's sick.
And Adele's from the area as well, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Super
shout out her.
passionate. Shout out Adele.
Yeah.
Super passionate about stuff. She grew up in West Sydney as well, Manly girl. So it was mad to like have someone like her on my team and stuff like that, you know? So yeah, man. I guess that's how I keep across things.
Yeah, it'd be fucking hard, man. Because I do Helos and then work like full time.
Yeah.
And then during the season, like I'm like a coach of football team and shit like that.
Far, man.
And just all this other stuff. But like during that, I like sometimes you miss stuff.
Yeah,
but I
man.
can imagine your hand is in 4 different pots, really, making music, Triple J, and then DJing and producing. Yeah. So that'd be so hard to stay across.
Yeah, nah, like I feel you on that. It's a different thing as well when you're expected to be in charge of it all.
Yeah,
you know, like it isn't really anybody telling you what to do or what to say. You know, because I just stepped into this at the start of this year. Like I quit my job. I was working at Harvey Norman online for like a while, like a whole year. So I kind of stepped into it, and I kind of like underestimated the workload that came into it. Because it isn't like a normal artist where you know, an artist kind of just has them to think about. And so, you know, they will just have their own interests at the forefront of their mind and go, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. Whereas my thing is like, I also have 12 other people's interests in my mind that I have to placate, and they're looking at me for the decisions, and they're relying on me to tell, like, to go, oh, this is what we should do, this is what, you know. So coming into that was a bit of like it was a bit of a mind-boggling experience, if anything, because I'm just like, fuck, like it's actually all up to me. Oh crap, like I'm not being told like, oh, you like do this at this time, do this at that time. Like it was up to me to decide it, you know. I was just always trying to wrap my head around it. Still am like still learning, but you know, I feel like I've got a bit more of a deeper understanding of it now.
Young boss, but like 22,
shot, bro. Shot, bro. Appreciate you, bro.
Taking calls, bro. It's full on, it's full on trying to like because like not at the moment, but when I do a drop, I could easily like take the week off work. The drop will pay for, say, if I want to take a week off work or whatever. But like managing all that and like making decisions when other people are involved is actually quite hard.
So you would probably find it too, you know, like also when other people are in your ear, you know, it's kind of like you have to compromise or sort of like accommodate for people's ideas and stuff like that, and sometimes that's like tricky, like to come across, at least like for me to get used to, like getting into and stuff like that. But you know, as I said, like it's a learning process through, you know, like people butting heads. I've butt heads with so many people across. I'm sure you have. You know what I mean? But it's through that, like you sort of come across like a ground, like a level ground. You sort of like, okay, this is where I understand how things are. Okay, this is okay. Well, how can we work from this? You know, how can we move from that? So it's been really good to learn all of that. Really,
you'd most probably get it from working with rappers. I get it from working with designers.
Wait, I'll tell you. Actually, nah, it's not rappers. It's singers. Singers I actually butt heads with, because rappers will be like, you make them a hard beat and then they go, fuck, mad. All right, you know, they'll just jump on it.
Jump in.
Singers, if you have an idea for them, like, oh, I reckon you could do this, you could do that. Singers are sort of like, they want to control the whole, you know, product of the whole music of it, and so they're like a bit, I don't know, why don't we try this instead? And I'm like, no, we try this. You know, I'm really insistent because I feel like it'll sound good, and I'd like just to try it. But it's just funny, like working with singers, if anything, is actually more of a mentally tough experience than rappers. It's fun. It's funny how that works out though.
You're not wrong about the rappers, but because I've seen like Marv's and all the boys come here and they just get a beat, and like as soon as they as soon as they get their beat, they're straight into it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll take a few beats, but like after 3 or 4, they'll be like, oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I love working with rappers for that reason though. Because like, bro, they're kind of like a blank canvas. You can just like stick anything at them and be like, yo, jump on this. And if they haven't really like steeped themselves in a sound or haven't really found an identity and stuff, sometimes as a producer, that's like almost like your responsibility to give them that platform to find their sound or find their niche. You know, and sometimes it works out the way like, okay, maybe if it doesn't work out with me, that's cool. Maybe another producer will do that for you. It's all love at the end of the day. You know, this is art. But then, you know, when it's sometimes when you find that magic with a rapper, and it's just kind of like you're in that zone and you're locking in, anything that you chuck at them, they'll just take and take and take. It's kind of like, you know, there's something like really special in that. You know?
I can't remember who did it, but once we were here with Fez. And we got in the car to go get like food. And it was just me and Fez, and we're talking about life or whatever. And then out of nowhere, he puts on him on a drill sound. And it was just, I'd never even expected him to go down that route. Like, and just what they're capable of switching up sound, bro.
Bro, Fez is really interesting, because so he's, you know how he sings as well. He approaches everything from like a rapper's perspective, if anything, like, but which is why it's been so cool to work with Fez. Like I'll chuck things at him that are super sort of left field, if anything, but he'll just take to it, like nothing, you know. Like I said, like from a rapper's perspective. But what he'll do on it is, and he'll be Fez on this like completely like left field production, you know. He'll just come out and start singing, and it's like the craziest thing like I'd ever heard. And it's like only Fez would be able to handle a beat. I
think he's so talented.
100%.
I think he's so talented.
100%.
Every time I see him, because I've seen him 4 or 5 times now. We talk like most weeks, I'd say. And every time something else just comes out, and you just go like, holy shit.
Exactly.
Like, you could be a fucking massive star.
Oh man, I'm keen for the stuff that we got to come out. I'm so excited.
Keen to hear it, bro. Keen to hear it. So I this is like a multi-part question
for sure.
So I think you're a bit of a left field producer and person within like the rap. Like what you like your sounds. I went on your SoundCloud the other day.
Mad.
It's definitely so I can tell like what you listen to, and then your spin on it. I'd say is a bit left field for like that hip hop culture. But so I'll ask 2 questions. The progression into music, and then the progression into your sound. So your sound, for people that haven't listened, Apply the Pressure, go listen to it. It's out now. Obviously got the sample of JC What's Good. So the first one is, how did you get into music? And then the progression into your individual sound.
So like I really just got into music, but I think I was just like an internet kid, Like I was really like on YouTube, just looking at this type of song, because I was just, you know, like growing up with like my uncles and stuff like that, you know, they had huge vinyl collections, because they used to DJ in South Auckland, and so they used to be really heavy into hip hop and R&B, and so my uncle used to just sit there and give me like my uncle Solly's favorite 3 rappers were Mos Def, KRS-One, and Ludacris. So
Ludacris,
very interesting, very interesting, like top 3. So that's like the basis that I grew up with. So I always just like looked up to my uncle in that regard and listened to those sort of records and things like that, and got into like hip hop from that angle. But then, you know, when I started coming into my own realm of exploration, I started doing like a little bit more research into the deeper stuff and the deeper cuts, and I started getting into like the Wu-Tang. I started like to this day, like you put on like Into the Wu-Tang, I'll know it front to back, like the whole album. Like that's a lot of people don't know this, because like I'll make dance music, if anything. But a lot of people don't know this, but my full background is like I'm a real like 90s hip hop fanatic, you know, to the core. Like, you know, I was really into DJ Quick. I think DJ Quick is amazing. One of my favorite producers ever. I was like super into like, you know, like Nas as well, like Illmatic. I used to run, like I know that album
Purple by Nas, one of my favorite
Purple, Lost Tapes, like that whole Lost Tapes compilation is like some of my favorite like Nas songs ever, you know, on it. Like even early Eminem, like I used to really love like the early M stuff. just because I thought the beats on it were really interesting as well.
Because he came with like a bit of spice, so to speak.
And he was like a bit like weird as well. So but he could, you know, it was undeniable that he could just rap. So I just came into the game of that. But I think like where my sound came from, if anything, was I think I was just really a sponge. You know, I soaked up a lot of music from just growing up here in Australia. You know, Australian culture, you know, is typically, to me, like, I grew up on like Channel V. I grew up on like, you know what I mean? I grew up on
Channel V.
I grew up on like Channel V and like
Rage.
No, I never really watched Rage like that. Nah, because it was too late for me to watch. I used to get told to go to bed before that time.
I used to wake up early and Rage was on a Saturday morning.
Oh, true.
Maybe the 5 a.m. slot.
I used to catch it like here and there when I'd be a bit like naughty and go watch it and stuff. And always be the weirdest music videos, but I just sit there like, what the heck? But it was always Channel V, which I grew up watching. So like all those like early like big dance tunes, you know, like your Call on Me's and your like put your hands up for Detroit and all these like fat bangers, even like the
Destination Unknown and
Destination Unknown, like all these like big like dance songs. I didn't realize how to impact on me until I started making music.
So Calvin Harris did, because he was big in the 2010.
Big Calvin Harris. Like I used to like I didn't realize how much Calvin Harris like impacted my stuff. Like all of that really. Until, you know, I started making music and I started, you know, really gravitating towards the house and the dance and you know, even though I make a lot of hip hop, like I make a lot of, you know, hip hop adjacent music, is like where I really found my footing was in dance and combining those sorts of worlds together, which is like a point that I was just talking about with my mate, with a few homies here yesterday actually. When you build up your musical repertoire, that you've sort of got a lot of different reference points in your mind, whenever you make a song, you're sort of pulling all your influences through this one song. You're sort of like drawing from different parts of culture that people don't even think to connect together through the one song. Like with Apply the Pressure, that's got a multitude of like Aussie references. So it's like what's good, we interpolate the message, we interpolate Spot the Difference, but then we also interpolate TK Mizer. Zion uses a nerve verse in one of the parts. He uses a nerve verse. He uses like another JC song, but it's all built on this sample from a New Zealand song from way back in the day that was made by some of my uncle's friends. You know, so it's sort of like this whole history running through this song, but you don't even think about the history because you just listen to it and think like, fuck, it's a banger, which it is. You know, don't get me wrong. Like it's meant to be that way, but it's sort of like when you kind of do a deeper dive into the layers of the song, you can actually pick out, oh, this is from here, this is from here. And I think that's like why my sound sort of like really resonates with like a lot of people here, because it's uniquely here. Like you can't really find it anywhere else, you know. Like growing up here in Australia, we're compounded by so much US and UK culture that it just happens to just have an influence on us. But where we are different is that I think Western Sydney has such a unique outlook and perspective on life that it just resonates through the art, and all the things that we grow up with in the culture, the demographics that we're surrounded by.
We're much more ethnically diverse.
You know what I mean? Like that, it just has to have an impact. You know, the lifestyles, the politics, you know, that all just has an influence on how we perceive like music and how we spread our music. So I would really just say I think I really am like Western Sydney in music form. You know?
Fuck yeah, that's mad, bro. I was listening to it and I was picking up stuff, but now that you're saying it, obviously the JC song was like the first one.
Yeah.
4 Boys in the Back. But then I was like listening and I was going along and I was like, oh shit, like CG, I'm a St. Clair veteran, all that type of stuff. So I was picking it up along the way and I was like, this is sick, man. This is sick.
It's cool for us to like show appreciation for it as well, you know. Like it's good for us because, you know, me and Zion both from St. Clair. You know, we're not like me personally, I grew up around a lot of like that, you know, the area beef and stuff like that. But I think if anything, the song is like almost like a statement that, you know, we'll respect and appreciate all this art, but you know, like we're also just appreciative of it all, you know, across all platforms regardless of where we are. It's like, we back our area, but that doesn't mean, you know, it's like we're pulling down another person's area. You know, we show love for all different spectrums of the scene, you know. And I think that's
Western Sydney against the world.
Yeah, exactly, man. Like that's the mission statement, you know. Like band together type thing.
Yeah. I back to your point before, kind of hit me. New Zealand seems to be very inspired by 90s 2000s hip hop.
Yeah.
Like crazily inspired. But yeah, like it seems New Zealand takes the most from the American 90s.
Yeah.
And that like Scribe era.
Yeah, that whole like Dawn Raid, the Decepticons and stuff, like Savage.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, fucking dude, Savage. He do you remember what song was he on with Joel Fletcher? Swing?
Yeah.
Man, what a comeback in the music.
That was the remix as well, because you know how like the first Swing popped off, the original, because it was in that movie Knocked Up. Yeah, it was in that movie Knocked Up, but then like 5 years later, the remix comes out, and then it's like, oh, like he's back again, and then he does that other song, the Where the Freaks At.
Freaks with Timmy Trumpet.
Freaks with Timmy Trumpet. Holy crap, bro.
Shout out Savage, man.
Wow, shout out Savage. But I think that's why I think, you know, I take a lot of that, you know. I'm huge, like I love my 90s hip hop, man. Like that's real. Oh, you know, I love hip hop in general, you know, but really where my bread and butter is, like in terms of you just chuck on and I'll just know, like it's 90s hip hop. And I think that's because, at least like to me, like the culture in the 90s in New Zealand was a bit more like appreciative of hip hop and R&B, because there was more poly demographic as well in the US. Like there was you know, quite a big, you know, Samoan and Tongan
Booyah Tribe, wasn't it?
Booyah Tribe, and you know, they had
the Rock as well.
The Rock and you know, like the whole Whitey family, like, you know, Rikishi and the, you know, and all that. Like we had representation in the US, so it was sort of like our culture came a lot from seeing the representation in the US, and so we wanted to just naturally emulate those sounds. Whereas I feel like Australia, like had its own thing going on. You know, we had like the Fonzie and the Bonzi and the, you know, like the Midnight Oil all rocking out here.
Band.
More bandy, big band, like
rock.
Big you know, pub rock stuff and things like that were taking hold here in the 90s and stuff. So, you know, like to me, like I think it's all like influencing if you grow up here anyways, you know. But I can definitely tell my roots come from that, because my family came from that, you know. If my family grew up here, I feel like it would be a different story, you know what I mean? But just as far as like how I go, I definitely see that.
I'd say you're the king of remixing and sampling. When I went on your Soundcloud, bro, I was like, holy shit, this is sick. Like you have the catalog and just, like JC obviously 1-4 and Young and Lips came up. Like they were my favorite ones. I listened through twice from back to start, and those were my favorite samples. And on your first SoundCloud release, I wrote that down, but I didn't write exactly what song was it.
The first one was LOVE. That was like a random ass remix I did, but
the 7.
Aswelu. So that's the like the project that that LOVE was.
That's what I was thinking of. That was so many different sounds. Talk about how that comes about.
So I was just like, so this is the thing, like as well, like when you're trying to find your own identity, you sort of have to, I guess, cosplay other people to find where you fit in. Like, well, when I say that, it's like no one comes out the gate being like themselves straight away. You know, when you look at a lot of people that do music, you know, their early demos often sound like who they were inspired by, you know. And that's just natural, you know, but where you come from that is finding out, what do I like from this artist? What do I like from that artist? What do I like from this point of sound that I could take and make mine? So Aswelu, if anything, was me just trying to get the kinks out, was me just trying to like figure out,
get your reps in.
Like just kind of see, okay, I made a house track. Oh yeah, okay, I like that. Oh, I made like a Timberland sounding track. Okay, you know, because I fuck with that, you know. Or
Timberland's one of the go-to producers.
You know, he's one of my favorite producers of all time. You know, so I was like, okay, let me try that. Let me suss out like a garage type influence song, or let me try to do like a bounce type. You know, like I was just influenced by so many things that it was hard to sort of not try and put that into play.
Yeah.
So what I did was I just decided to just go, let me just make one thing for every single thing that I like at this point in time.
Yeah.
You know, and from that, let me figure out how I can incorporate all of these different sounds into something that's uniquely mine.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like, you know, when people are developing their style, you know, it's you often imitate who you really like, you know. You often imitate that, but what comes, how you form your own unique style is through imitating a lot of different things that you like, and then taking little pieces from those imitations and then applying them to yourself, you know.
Fuck, beautifully said.
Yeah. So I just found that, you know, like I imitated a shit ton of sounds, you know. I just imitated a lot, and then I was like, man, like how like through constant repetition, through getting my reps in, okay, how do I actually like bring these into my world? And I'm still trying to clock that. Like I still feel like I haven't really clocked my 10,000 hours yet, but I feel like I'm well into it, you know.
I'm on the exact same path, man.
Nowhere
near the 10,000, but definitely past the 5,000.
Exactly. 100%.
And it's a blurred line as to when you know you've hit the 10,000, but
I'll probably never clock it, you know what I mean?
Music would be a really fucking hard one. Because I feel like with clothing, if you are able to work for yourself and then have people work for you, like it's a very the stepping stones are there, and they're like, you can obviously make it huge, but the basic stepping stones are there. But with music, there's like a unlimited potential for such fucking success.
There's really no bounds as to where music can go.
Like look at Leroy. Like
literally
numbers we never thought were possible from home.
Literally. Like he's a global sensation. You know, that's something that, you know, we don't even think about ever getting, you know. People go, oh yeah, I'd like to make it in the US, but I think that sort of level of success where you know, you're literally like a household name, you know, like that is sort of like, whoa, like, you know, it's just that. And so with music, it's also a thing of you're your own captain, you know, so you have to be comfortable in the decisions that you make, and if you're not comfortable with it, then no one's going to be comfortable with it, you know. And a lot of people can be in your ear telling you to do this and that, but ultimately at the end of the day, if it's not you putting the sign on the decision, then it's like, you know, it shows through the music. And I think it's really obvious when there's a lot of hands in the pot that aren't approved of, you know, by the artist, or just aren't, you know, really sort of, you know, like authentic to the artist, you know. That's the word, authentic. And I feel like that's the sort of journey that a lot of artists are sort of taking now, where it's like who are you? Who am I? What do I want? What do I want to be, or what do I aspire to be, or what do I want to sound like? And so sometimes you just have to kind of like run through the gauntlet. Sometimes you just have to kind of like take a few hits and bruise up,
run the ball up.
Which you know, I did. I fell on my ass like how many times? You know?
Same, bro.
It's just natural. But I think through that, you know,
it's quite fun when you look back on it.
100%, bro. I wouldn't change a thing. You build character. You build so much character, and ultimately that character that you build from these, you know, experiences is the character that, you know, people define you as. You know, people define you by your experiences and your accolades, and also just through I guess how confident you are in it, in the product, you know. So I've come to see that, and I've come to recognize the effect I have on people.
Has your confidence changed, you reckon?
Big time. I think stepping into like music full time, sort of like forced me to muster up that confidence. Because it's sort of like, oh, I don't want to fucking work a job. Fuck that shit.
What were you doing at Harvey Norman quickly?
I was doing like live chat, which is sort of like when you go on the website and you're looking for like people to talk to, like for information. It's like, it's us.
Oh, so you were on the other side of the website.
So we used to do the chats and stuff. Low key is the fucking easiest job in the world. Like I used to slack the fuck off. Yeah, I used to see like Jerry roll through in like his Rolls Royce because his building was just down the road. Yeah, and I always be like, fuck, what if I just like jump on the bonnet and call like insurance fraud or some shit? Fucking Jerry. But nah, we never even. Yeah, it was just funny. Like we just used to fuck around there. I miss those days, but it was it was a different shock from being in a stable income to now having to decide and make decisions for yourself and having to like hustle for your own income. I was at
JB, bro, and I worked out the back for ages. Stable as fuck income, but I just couldn't do it.
It was like comfortable and also like you don't feel like you're moving, eh?
Yeah. So I work for my uncle now. I only work for 30 hours a week. So there's another like in my fucking stupid jumbled up head. There's like 10 to 15 hours of work I've got to make up for to pay myself, if that makes sense, to make up for the 10, 15 hours of not getting paid at a normal job. So like, there's that like, it's different to you because you're fully working on it, but like there's that drive every week when I get up to be like, how the fuck am I going to generate this revenue? Or put in foundations to future generate more revenue. And it's just every week. Constant progression.
No, yeah, like I think it's the same type of deal. If anything, like it's the same type of pressure. Like whereas your pressure comes from like having the limited time. My pressure comes from having all the time. So it's I kind of have to make the time to do it, and the confidence I had to muster up sort of was almost forced in a way because I had to like play the role of, oh man, you're out here. You kind of have to be out here. You kind of have to be the guy, like, stuff. And so that's how like Sollywood came about. Like, so I came into presenting, doing like my Sollywood stuff. And so it was almost like imposter syndrome. I sort of had to fight a bit of imposter syndrome for me because, I was just kind of like, man, like, what, like, who do you think you are? Like, who do you think you're the guy? Like, what have you done and stuff? But through the constant like imitation, again, it goes back to what I was saying, through the imitation of this confident, like, out here being a radio presenter, it just somehow I kind of naturally became the confidence that I was searching for. And I think now I'm at the point where I can make a decision and I know I'm comfortable with the decision. And I know what's going to be good. You know? I'm still working on like, I guess, communication and how to manage those decisions and how to, like kind of get a team across those decisions and stuff. I'm still working on the nitty gritty of it. But as far as just me knowing what I want to do and knowing where I want to be, I think I'm very confident in that. And also I'm very confident in the music I make now. I sort of have come to a point where I know I can step into a room and I can play people a beat, or I can sit down and I can make someone a beat and I know that they're going to fuck with it,
Yeah. Sorry, bro.
How you do your thing, bro?
It's a connection from someone's MacBook. I'm the same, bro. Like with confidence now, I can step into like example. Ty, two of us are. Yeah. He was at O'Donoghue's on Anzac Day. I went up to him and was like, "Oh, hey, bro, like I did a podcast with Bomber because they're all mates. Bomber Sneakers. Yeah, and like just and then we'll start talking about that because we talked about him on it. And one of my videos. There's a video of Bomber talking about him that got like 300 plus K or something. And then, like the confidence to walk into rooms now when there's people that have mutual connections or whatever in the scene. Be like, oh, hey, I run Helos and Homies independently. And then figure out like the person in between that we know and then like try and build a relationship from there. But that took me fucking ages, man. There was only like a month or two ago I started really getting onto like doing that consistently. And it's hard, It's hard to like build up that confidence and forward thinking to like,
bro, it's so hard
yourself in a room,
especially like because I had to like learn that through practice as well. My early days of DJing, I was out trying to network by myself, because I was actually like one of the only Western Sydney DJs doing anything in the city. Just like literally anything. I was really one of the only people out.
Who are the others? Capital Z? See Western Sydney?
Z, but Z was in a different scope to me. Z had almost like sort of clocked it, if anything. He had sort of come to his position, he had already sort of like made his stamp on the world. My role was like I was sort of coming into these scenes like kind of by myself pushing a brand that no one else was really pushing in the West at the time.
Yeah, I don't think anyone has your brand at all.
Yeah, and so I was super young coming into DJing. I was maybe 19.
Yeah, well,
meeting all these people. I was out like DJing with like Jade LaFlay, randomly, one night, and I was just only like 19, but just that being put in an unfamiliar environment, because man, there's people are different out there.
Yeah.
People are very different out there, and I was not used to that at the time. But being put out in those environments kind of just like made me go, how do I like reason with these people? Let's find something we connect on, the same way that you did, like, hey, like you like this type of music, and they're like, oh my gosh, I love this. I'm like, I actually like have this remix tape that you should listen to. I actually made a song like this on the tape, and like, like let me suss it out, and then they go and they check it out, and then they like it, and then they spread it to their mates. That's another reason why I did the tape. DJs at the time used to really be in the remix culture, and there was I guess there was a lot of DJs but not a lot of remixes being pumped out, remixes were actually in high demand. So if anything, I sort of like provided the demand for these DJs. So that's how I actually got my foot in the door with a lot of DJs. And then also through the local edits, the 1-4 remixes and the Young Lips remix, no one was really doing area remixes at the time as well. So if anything, mine came at like the perfect time, because then the Younger Lips one came out, and then everyone starts playing that in the club. Like that got all the way in like Berlin. I saw like like this DJ I know like was playing it in like Berlin at the time, and I was just like, what the heck, like but it's sort of me needing to read the scene, and sort of me like needing to understand the landscape,
bro. Fucking so funny you say that. I've got notes here about like what I pick up on a person before meeting them. Third from the bottom, fills the gap between rap and DJ vibes. Would you say you nail that?
I guess so. Yeah, I think because I love both, like aspects of it. I love all types of dance music. Like house. Your techno.
And you think rap belongs within dance music?
Yeah, I mean, if there's history on it, you look at like early house music, like rappers were rapping over that. And then you also look at like LGBT community, the ballroom culture. They would MC over stuff like that as well. And then you look at like Jamaican sound system culture, they were playing like stuff that ended up becoming like your jungle and your drum and bass and your like all those sort of like UK based genres. They were like toasting over those. So if anything, is just sort of like a natural progression. I think where I meld it is that I think I'm just equally passionate about both sides of the coin as the next person. Like I can sit down with a jungle fan, and I can sit down with a garage fan and talk about like all like garage classics, but in the same vein that I can sit down with a fan of like UK trap, and we can sit there and talk about our nines and sit there and talk about like our scraps and
don't get me talking.
And pot of paper and stuff. You know what I mean? Like
Potter's top 3 for me.
Exactly. So I know
Nines,
the field. I can
City Boys.
Yes, bro. So I feel like with my knowledge, if anything, like it comes from an understanding of the field. It comes from an understanding of the plays that I make. It comes from understanding, when I throw a shot, I know where it's gonna land. And I know how it's gonna land. You know?
That's sick. I feel the same when I walk into a room with rappers. I feel like I despite what people think, I have actually fuck all to offer when I walk into a room with rappers, right? Like in terms of business, all that shit. I don't have a music label. I have nothing. All I do is just sit there and offer advice based on my absorption of music since I was fucking 10 or 11, right? So when like I was with Fez and Marvs or Red Honcho or something, they'll talk about a rapper.
Shout out D-Boss.
And they'll talk about a rapper, and I'll be able to go back with them and mention who like they should be listening to. Like I remember showing Fez like the Pot of Paper Training Day albums. And then like
Gangster-ish. Gangster-Ritis? Gangster-Ritis?
And there's been a few other artists that have been in here as well, and like being able to go back and forth with them. And it goes back to your point of like being able to sit there and talk to someone about it, and that offers like the value to it. With garage, I don't know much about garage, but I know a lot about the early grime.
early grime.
I get lost in the translation because obviously grime is a derivative, so to speak, of garage.
It's same sort of thing, really. You know, like but you know, my like early grime,
BBK boys.
Yeah, like the Roll Deep, and I used to listen to like a lot of like So Solid crew, and obviously you know your Dizzy,
Wiley.
Huge. I was like huge into like JME as well. I still am. Like, you know, his music's now
funny character, eh?
Like that's why I always liked JME, because he was just a funny cunt. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's fucking. It's funny the difference between him, his brother, and his sister.
Yes, I know. What a family, like crazy family. You know, Skep is Skep. You know, but like Julie though, you know, I mean, her being where she is.
She reminds her and Skepta seem very similar.
Yeah,
they seem very like hardened people.
Yeah.
Jamie seems like a fucking like sunflower.
He's the younger brother, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's the youngest.
It kind of makes sense if anything. He's kind of like whatever. You know what I mean? Like take the piss of it.
Yeah. But yeah, just BBK as a whole. Like in terms of grime, but that was my entry at least.
Yeah, tough.
DEE.
Yeah, DEE.
And then obviously like Wiley and Kano, they were involved in it. Gigs.
Yeah, big Kano
Talking
fan.
the Hardest was like one of mine.
I just started getting into Gigs actually like recently. Started going through his back catalogue. I really appreciate Gigs' style of rapping. It took me a while to get into it because you know I came into it from the American side. American rappers tend to like they'll rap a lot. Yeah, you know, whereas Gigs like. You know, every word sort of counts. So he would just kind of like say a few words.
Nailed it.
You know what I mean? Like he would just kind of like come in.
You listen to The Essence by Gigs?
Yes. He just let the beat breathe, you know.
That's an anthem, man.
Let the beat breathe. And so that was hard for me to like clock as a fan of US rap. Yeah. But I've started to come around to appreciating that in of itself is actually an art form. You know,
says less words but speaks more.
Yeah, knowing what to say and knowing just the right type of words to say and knowing that you can just let the beat breathe and people just have to clock it. Yeah. You know, and just kind of like simmer in what you've just said. Yeah. You know, it's completely different to American rappers where they will be like punchline, this, simile, metaphor, double like multi-syllable. So different, but I've just come around to just appreciating that, and it's just like broadened my enjoyment of like UK rapping specifically so much, you know, just that understanding. Saying less but speaking more. Yeah, you know?
He Gigs falls in between like your Nines and Potter, and then in between the grime generation. Yeah, falls like in like a middle
he was on
ground
that road rap. Like I used to be into
Peckham,
like
man. Fucking, to be a big boy in Peckham,
I used to be into like
crazy
I just got into like Joe Black, who was like a rapper on like SBTV at the time. I started getting into
rest
like
in peace Jamal Edwards, man. Every time I hear SBTV, I saw a photo of him and Ed Sheeran like just having a drink the other day. I was like,
hey, also people don't know Ed Sheeran was involved in the grime scene as well.
Gangster, man. You know? There's that old video of him and Wretch on the corner.
Yes,
and Wretch is just throwing down. But Wretch is like Gigs.
Yeah, like Avelino and all those guys.
Wretch and Avelino, they were water and fire. Like they were so perfectly matched in their rapping.
100%. They're Novelist as well. Novelist was doing a lot.
Songer, do you know Songer, the white guy?
Songer, no, actually, really, no.
You haven't heard Songer?
Nah.
He has Black Box. He has maybe the biggest Black Box out there.
No, I don't think so.
He has the opening punchline is, "You're not on the same level as I. These bars will make your adrenaline rise."
I think I might have seen it, but I'm not familiar with the actual artist.
He's the same, man. Like he can either like rap really fast, or he falls in the middle ground of like saying not much, but saying a lot of people resonating. Yeah. And then he goes on the American side, and then he can say like a stupid amount of words in one song without saying like anything.
I love that though. Like that to me, like they're very different brands of rapping, but it's just, you know, I think it's like taken me a while to like understand that like, there's power in this. And if anything, I think like Australian rappers are almost like in the middle of that. Like they're sort of, you know, growing up with this huge American influence, definitely, but taking tips from like the UK.
We're way more UK now.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, we're way more UK leaning.
And the rappers that I feel are still prevalent here in terms of influence are big in the UK. Like to me, I see 50 Cent's influence through a lot of Aussie rappers now. Yeah. Because I know he actually was super influential over there to the UK rappers, because 50 Cent was a rapper that didn't really say much. If you think about it, you know, he wasn't really rapping like that.
I think what's that? Get Rich or Die Trying spoke for itself with what occurred outside of the album.
Yes, literally,
like on the street.
I think like you look at like someone like J Hus, and I think like J Hus is like the UK 50 Cent. You know, and like the type of songs that he makes and the type of hooks that he writes and the type of writing. I'm like, yo, like 50 runs, and then you know, J Hus did like the 21 Questions cover. And so it's like I see the rappers that influence the UK, the American rappers, you know, with the road rap and all that. Like I see the way they've influenced UK rap and UK culture, and I see that for here. I see like the same rappers being really prominent here, you know what I mean? Like but I think we're just in that really cool sweet spot where I think we draw from a lot of American culture, just as we draw from a lot of UK culture, but we also have a unique perspective because we're so far removed from the rest of the world. You know, we have to like, we've got our own ecosystem of things going on here, you know?
I'd love to see Hood Bars gives it a good crack. Shout out Hood Bars. We need more of that, because that's what UK... they differentiated themselves from the US, because the US only really had, what is it? Is it Hoxbox that they had over there? The one that Charlemagne used to host and shit like that.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the name,
you'd know the radio station, but then what the UK did well is they had what, SBTV, Grime Daily, Daily Duppy.
Yeah, they had like Mixtape Madness.
Yeah, they've got like 4 or 5.
Yeah,
I think that's like one thing we lack on, is I'd like to see more rappers take on a freestyle format.
Yeah, or even like, you know, your Funk Master Flex and you know, from the UK.
That's what I was thinking of.
Oh, Funk Master Flex and like Sway in the Morning and 5 Fingers of Death. Like Tim Westwood as well. You know, Tim Westwood and Charlie Sloth. Being huge in the UK. You know,
Ned thinks I look like Charlie Sloth when I'm tanned.
What does he say? Matty. But you know, that I think is a huge point that you brought up, because Australian rap doesn't really have a lot of platforms for artists to express themselves unfiltered. Like you've got like your Bars of Steel, and you've got your
that's how I found Kobe D.
You've got your Bars of Steel, and you've got like these like sort of little pop-up ones, like platforms, but there really isn't anything.
We need pillars.
That's sort of like kind of pushes the artist, you know, because when you're in those spots, you know, when you're in the fire in the booth, it's like you have to bring your A game, or Charlie Sloth isn't gonna rock with it. You know what I mean? We don't really have that here for Aussie rappers, where it's like there's someone behind the booth telling them like, nah, this isn't it. You know, where like in America, you know what I mean? They come on and then they do their thing, and then it's like it's either Funk Flex either fucks with it, or he's like, that was cool. You know what I mean? Like there isn't really that here as far as like putting rappers on a platform where it's like, okay, take away the lights, take away the cameras, take away the phone. Let's see how you do pure
just
rapping.
The fucking beat.
And whoever comes out of that is the one. If you didn't do your thing, it's cool. Come back again. You know. There's no platform like that here for Australia, but I think going forward, like building something like that, I think will be so beneficial for the growth of the rap scene. Oh man, because it'll encourage us to sort of be better. It will sort of encourage us to be on our A game, and encourage us to go, all right, flip, like I know this platform's not gonna like let me do multiple takes. And it's gonna be one take. It's gonna be live. Oh, I need to make sure I'm on my A game. You know, it's gonna get people jolted. I think that's so important, and I think that's what's lacking here from Australia. It'll happen. I think it'll happen, but I think that's like a huge thing.
I've wanted to do it for like almost a year now. I just don't have the funds. But if I had the funds, it'd be simple of just building a music studio, putting people in it, and then going from there and just being like, all right, here we go. Here's what we're going to do. And then sorting out, obviously, the rights, because that's a big thing over in the UK. One thing they fucked up on was the early ones. They didn't get the clearance on the beats, so then never went to Spotify. So it got stuck on the SoundCloud and YouTube. But like, for the general audience, obviously needs to go on Spotify and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I've looked through it all. I've got like not in this book, but another one. I've got like 4 pages written down of like things I'd need to do to get that like platform established.
If you can make it in a way where it's really like an unfiltered look at the artist, I think that's huge.
Because they edit it like crazily now. Like the Daily Duppy is edited ridiculously well, but it's just, if I was to do it, I wouldn't do any editing to that side. I would just do the take and different camera angles, obviously, but like I wouldn't put in the editing so people get the bars. I'd rather the rapper be so good people want to listen 2 or 3, 4, 5 times. And
to me, something like Daily Duppy is sort of like, it's a stylized platform. Like it's really a promotional tool for the artist.
Daily, man.
Yeah,
which is the biggest platform.
Yeah, which is great though. Like, you know, if you get a Daily Duppy, it's sort of like your 30. Yeah. You know? But the UK have that culture already of, you know, grime MCing and battling, where it's sort of like they build the competition anyways before they get to that point. Yeah. So, you know, when people step on a platform like Daily Duppy, it's already like they've kind of gone through the ringer. Yeah. Here in Australia, we don't really have that culture of battling or
fuck, we did, man, but it was in Aussie rap.
Like, you know, but this new culture of drill rappers and this new culture of UK influenced rap. I mean, you know, you got the grime scene in Melbourne and of course Sydney, which is, you know, really been doing this thing, but you know, those are spaces dominated by, you know, the older generation, you know. But as far as like for the younger rappers, there isn't really a platform which appeals to the younger generation that encourages an unfiltered look, purely just you and this rapper, and he's gonna rap his ass off, and there isn't any training wheels on this bike. You know what I mean? There isn't really anything like that here. It's all very stylized at the moment for the new generation. Which is also, you know, it has this place, like, you know, it has this place to you know, to use as to promote, you know, to maybe promote drops and singles, and also a good look for the artists when they get on it. But as far as like a real raw platform, I think that's like in high demand. I think people want to see someone like chilling and just come on and just like chuck a beat. You know, when he did Fire in the Beef, that was sick, because it was just like him rapping over beats. It's like, that's all we needed, you know. And he went and he killed it because he's a great rapper. You know,
I think someone like Alex Jones from IGs or LGs.
Alex Jones. Like
Alex Jones, if I got him out of wherever the fuck he is to just come and do 24 hours in a booth, I think he'd go bar for bar, toe to toe with any MC in this country.
Exactly. Like, you know, your Fractures, your Wombats, you know, like all those guys would just, like, I know that they would kill it. But it's because they've come up in the culture where that was required. A lot of the
That's the same with 360 too.
Exactly. Same with Curse, same with Rates, you know, same with all those fellas. KRV, you know what I mean? Same with all those, you know, Ensar, you know, Minchos, you know, same with all those guys. They kind of came up in a culture where it's like they kind of had to like really prove that they were good rappers. This generation now, this sort of like newer school of rappers that's coming out, you know, hasn't really had that culture to sort of like really prove themselves, you know, and I would love to see that though. I would love to see something which caters to, you know, this sort of like new school, but also, if someone from the old school was to come off, I call it the old school, but if someone from the old school was to come on this platform,
the 2010s,
they would like set the bar. You know what I mean? Like they would set the bar for the rest of the people that come on, you know?
Who do you think would set the bar in Australian freestyling?
Apart from all those guys, like, because to me, like, they are
anyone, just one name.
Best of Australian freestylers. I think
I've got one old school and one new school. John, you'll most probably agree with me. Bar for bar, best in the country would be Alex Jones. And
that's
then
a good shout.
New school, Lissy.
Ooh, I think
new school's hard. There's fucking few of them.
I think my pick for like freestyler, I think that's a good. I think I would give it to Pistol Pete.
Oh yeah,
I think I'll give it a Pistol Pete.
He'd go. He'd give it a crack.
I think I would honestly give it to Pistol Pete. I think Pistol Pete would kill it because again, like him and like Enzo as well. You know, speaking of, I think them two came up in that environment as well. Like, you know, the American style.
They did it on like the J Hus and the Dave song Disaster, where J Hus does it with a few artists where it's like back and forth on the song. They do that the best in the country by far.
100%.
Bar none. Like that back and forth within the song is just so crazy.
I would love to see Pistol Pete like put in a room where it's like, yo, like this, there's no lights, there's no fancy setup. Here's the beat, rap, you know. And I would love to see him because I know he would flipping like destroy it, you know. You know, I would really be interested in seeing like even like JC. I would really be interested to see how
DSP
he would,
too.
Yeah, like I would really be interested to see how they would tackle it, because I think like JC's brand of lyricism is very interesting. You know, he sort of takes off the UK brands, but he's very uniquely Aussie. You know, and it's something that I haven't really heard anywhere else in the world. I would really love to take and see him. I would also love to see like Manu Crooks. Because a lot of people don't know this, but Manu actually has crazy pen game. You know, he can actually really write well, but he just hasn't had the platform to express that. I think putting him in a like, you almost are putting him in a box where it's like you kind of have to fight your way out, you know. But like I said, you know, it's things like that are almost necessary to the growth of an artist. As far as old school though, as far as like one of the old school fellas, that's a good question. I would want to see like Stormy.
Who?
Stormy, from Soul Benefits.
Fuck.
I'd want to see Stormy. I'd want to see Stormy come in.
I think Ricky or Eski mentioned that to me.
Bro.
Soul Benefits,
Stormy, like, bro, if you, like, Stormy is one of the most underrated lyricists, like, ever. Like, seriously, like, this guy's pen game is insane, and people don't even clock it, because Soul Benefits was in like a weird sort of pocket where it wasn't quite in that grime scene, but it wasn't quite aligned with anything else coming out of Australia.
Say ahead of its time.
I think it was just right time, wrong place. You know? I think if they were based in like New Zealand, they would kill it, you know. But they were based out here in the West. But a lot of people don't clock Stormy for just how well this guy can really rap, you know, and just how studied he is. So I would love to see Stormy get that, because he also has the respect from the OGs. You know, this guy did songs with like, you know, Biggs and Poetic and you know, like the David Dallas and all these like old New Zealand cats that were really respected in the scene. And also, you know, like, you know, your LOCs and your Marvs and your Lee Monroes. You know, this guy was respected out in the area. But it's like, I would love to see him come in and just like rip it, because I know he would put everyone to shame. You know what I mean? So I would just love to see that sort of like competitiveness in the spirit of improvement. You know, not competitiveness for the sake of ego. It's all in the spirit of improvement and general, you know, love. You know, I'd love to see that.
Fuck yeah. I hopefully I can get that happening one day. Hopefully. Now, I got a few more questions for you. I got a few via Instagram, so I'll get that up while I ask this question.
For sure.
Who the fuck inspires Sollyy? Because you're like, I think you're like a marketing genius.
Oh, bro, thank you, bro.
No, genuinely, I say that with my whole heart and chest.
Thank you, bro.
I look at your shit. When I first started following you, you'd like gone offline, I think. Or like you posted something. And then you posted like how you were getting cancelled or some shit. It was a fucking interesting marketing technique, bro. But you got me fully interested, eh? And you got me asking people about it as well. And then like it all led up to this release. And I was like, I was thinking to myself as I was listening to your SoundCloud stuff, I was like, who the fuck inspires this guy? Because I'd love to know who it would be.
Okay, you know who it was? You know what it is? Wrestling.
WWE. That's sick.
I grew up on wrestling, and just the way that they used to do like the promos, and the way they used to do like the fucking Rob Van Dam's coming in with the money in the bank, like all that sort of shit. Like that shit really just inspired how I like do stuff. Like with the Sollywood is over stuff, like with the whole getting cancelled, you know, that stuff you see on wrestling. You know what I mean? Like that's like, you know, you remember when like Mr. McMahon stepped into the limo and then it blew up and then everyone thought he was dead? Bro, that's like that. You know what I mean? That's fully that. Like or like when flipping, what was it? Someone ran over Stone Cold. And then it was Rikishi, and he's like, I did it for The Rock. I did it for the, you know what I mean? Like that's that. Like people thought Stone Cold was like fully out. Like obviously that's not real life. That's just like for the audience. Stuff.
What did they do with Kane? Remember Kane was in a fucking coffin one day?
Like he like,
and then the hand comes out.
The hand came out, and then he was like fucked up because his face was all fucked up. And they did the reveal, and then Rob Van Dam's like, what the fuck? And he pulls his mask off, and his face is like mad fucked up. That all that sort of shit. Like I really took from like wrestling because I grew up on it. You know, that's another thing that inspires me heaps. Like even the whole like different different names, like different, like Spiffy-Russo, Sollyy, Sydney's Best Kept Secret. You know how when you talk about The Rock and he's like the great one, the Brahma Bull, the most electrifying sports entertainment, you know, like different different nicknames and different aliases that people call you, and also like the different types of characters that you played. Like The Rock had like you know, he was in like Nation of Domination, and he was a different type of rock. Yeah. But then when he came, and you know, everyone knew him, the Rocket that we know and love. But then later on, he sort of became like a bit of a dick. Yeah. People didn't like him. Like Eddie Guerrero, you know, like Eddie Guerrero had like Latino heat. But then before that, he was like with China, and he was like a different sort of guy.
Fuck, he'll be my hero till day I die.
Oh, bro, he's my favorite wrestler of all time. Yeah. You know? Rest in peace, Eddie. But you know, like that sort of stuff, like really.
Fuck,
just
how long did he die?
2005. Yeah.
I used to have him and Rey Mysterio figures, but the Eddie one I took the most pride in because I think I got to see him in Australia before he passed.
Yeah. Wow. Really?
Yeah.
What?
Because my brother's 5 years older than me.
Yeah.
And he was obsessed with it as well. And they did a show in Australia, and I think he was at that one.
What?
I could be so wrong.
That's like, bro, that would have been a dream to see Eddie before you.
Yeah. It was Eddie, Rey Mysterio, and I always loved Booker T.
Yeah, you see someone like Booker T, you know how he like had like King Booker, and he had like this, but then before that he was like, you know, Harlem Heat, you know, like these different sorts of personas that the wrestlers play, and the different sorts of things that they put out, and the audience is like, oh, like, did that really happen? You know, that's what I take for marketing, you know, because people eat up shit like that, you know, people eat up drama. I knew people would be like, what did he do?
When you like cancelled yourself, were you getting fucking messages?
Yeah, I was getting hella messages. Being like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? Why is everyone saying this? Like hella messages just being like, because I got all my mates on it. That's the thing. Like I got all my boys on it just to like, oh, can you just
fuck? Because I follow one or two of them. I can't remember who it was, but I remember them posting something. Yeah. Or like putting on their stories. Yeah.
And then be like, oh, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Like I did that on purpose because I knew it wouldn't be believable if I just did it. Yeah. Like, I was like, oh, boys, can you just like share it and just say like, this cunt's fucked. Like, oh, fuck this guy. And so, you know, through that, people just go, oh, why are they saying that? Why are they, like, you know what I mean? Like,
to be honest, inquisitive drama.
To be honest, you could sit there and promote your song and be like, oh, I got a song coming out. It's, you know, like 9 times out of 10, no one's going to click the link. But if you have some sort of drama that people want to find out, or have some sort of beef that people want to invest in, bro, you're going to get all the clicks. We did some fucking funny shit out the back here. Like, I got my mates to like go on Instagram live and just like screen record them, like me pulling up in the car, and then be like, why the fuck are you here? Get the fuck out. We don't even fucking watch you here. And me in the car like, I'm sorry. Like, and then people were watching the live. People were watching the live being like, what did he do? Like, what's going on? Like,
holy shit.
Yeah, but it was all like, we just did it for 5 minutes and then came back inside, and it's just like 8. You know what I mean? But that's it. Like, it comes from wrestling, because you know, we really thought those people hated each other. You know, we thought like you know what I mean? Like, they actually had real beef, but then, you know, it comes out, you can see them in photos, they're having like lunch together.
I'm pretty sure like Big Show and Rey Mysterio were like best mates. Like, outside of wrestling, like they were the best of friends.
Exactly that. But that's like a whole thing that I take. Like, you can really sort of with social media, you can really sort of play with people's expectations and sort of lead them on to believe one thing. You know, people can live a whole life on social media and exist in a completely different realm.
Fuck yeah.
I think that's huge, and I've just sort of started to clock that with how I've been doing music, and so I really want to just like hone in on it and just see how far I can really push it, as far as just what I can do, you know, because that whole shit was so funny. I had to cut it short because people were like starting to, you know, take it real serious and start going like, you know what I mean, like start pressing my other friends. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, I'll cut it short, but it was just really interesting to do, and I learned a lot from it. So
fuck yeah. I've got 2 things. There's a few questions here, but I'll just ask these 2 because we're on a time thing. For sure. I've got another one from personally. Flat, right there. Favorite track you've produced?
Or favorite track? That's a tough one, eh? It's not out yet, but it would probably be the one I've got with 1 through 100. The Korean track. Do you want to? We spoke about it earlier. Do you want to explain your connection to 1 through 100? So I didn't even know this, but like the Koreans run deep. Like they're like
massive over here.
Oh, they're clicked up. Like, especially like Lidcombe, Strathfield ways. There's like a whole community over there. But yeah, like, so one of the guys, he was like an affiliate of the group. This was before they were 1300. I went to uni with, and then this guy also had his own group. So he had like a show. I just decided to go to the show for support from the homies, and then it just ended up I literally met all of them that day. We all went Capital Square, Haymarket, had like some drinks. They treated me like fam. And it was just like, it was pretty much just like, you know, we saw each other and just had like shook hands. Like it was like a good ass relationship from there, because you know we sort of had that you know, like friendship built up. But it was from there, it's from one of the members, Bakari, that I got my connection for this song, because me and Bakari, so he's like another producer in the group, shout out to Jason. Me and him clicked up because we used to DJ together. So I met the other 4 members you know, through this like little link up through uni and stuff, but I met him separately. But he's the one who sort of got me in the door as far as like, this guy makes music, let's click him up. And so then the other 4 boys were like, oh yeah, we've actually met him before. So then there was also that level of familiarity. And from there they did the song,
build the relationship.
Man, they performed the song in like Korea and shit already. Like
I'm just looking, the reason I'm on my phone, I'm looking at 1300 Spotify. 34,000 monthly listeners. Top song is on 520,000, and the rest sit at a minimum of 120 to anywhere between that and mid 500,000. On the top 10, like 5 to 10, which is fucking crazy.
They're pretty huge, bro. Like their rise has been, I didn't even know that they were gonna blow up like that, you know, like because you know, knowing them from way back.
There's another one in Sydney too, or Melbourne, massive fucking K-pop group.
I'm not too sure. Like I'm not really too sure, but they were just like, I'm familiar with them because they were like also like from the West as well, you know. Like, they were Lidkin boys. So,
that's sick.
Like they performed at like Enmore Theatre when they opened for like an this act or something like that, and I got footage of it. I was just like, wow, I've never heard anything I've done at Enmore Theatre, you know. So I think that's probably my favorite one to date that I've done.
Fuck yeah. Another one from Waves.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out Waves, man. I love their coverage. Them, Take Flight, and AU Dollars.
Yes,
big fan of those 3.
Shout out to Take Flight too, man. Wings been putting in work, bro.
What's his name?
Wings.
Yeah, dude. I was voice messaging him when I was in Europe. I was just talking to him. He must work hard,
bro. Yeah, well, I mean, like he had his own music career beforehand. You know what I mean? Like, he was an artist himself, and now he's like don't Take Flight, but it's so necessary for the community.
Explains why it's called Wings. That clicks so much now. Yeah. Take Flight. Waves. What can other cities and hubs learn from the success of Western Sydney scene? I'd say diversity.
Yes, I was literally just gonna say that. You literally hit the nail on the head. Like diversity is huge. Like learning to incorporate yourself into different cultures and learning the field. You know, learning how to play the field. I think is huge. You know, I think a lot of like scenes just might not have that connection, but I think where we have that, you know, have the edge over people is that we're just like we're just diverse because it's naturally like that. Like we don't force anything, you know. So you kind of just hit the nail on the head with that one.
Diversity. You can't really replicate it unless it's there.
That's
to be honest. That's what makes Western Sydney special. It is a good question, but taking pride in the diversity, I would say. Because like even for me, just coming to the studio, like I'm half Italian, half Australian. And so what? Like I met people from New Zealand, Tonga, Samoa, Cook Islands, like those especially, Fiji as well, and then like Lebanon, other countries in the Middle East. I've met people from the UK in here. I've also met people from Trinidad, Central America, so Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago and stuff like that.
There's heaps of like Ghanaians and Nigerians and South Sudanese that run through here.
Shout out Della, he's Ghanaian.
Shout out Della, man.
And learning about their cultures and whatnot. And for me, it's very like it's very humbling because I'm not used to it at all. Being from the mountains, but like you can't replicate that unless it's there. That's why I think like somewhere like the UK kills it as well. And what it came down to essentially was like 50 years ago, the immigration from the wars allowed for this thing open up. But like that's why I think ours and the UK scene is similar. Is we have very ethnically diverse artists.
100%.
We have such a different coverage.
This is like the one portion of the world where hip hop isn't dominated by people of African descent. You know, like it's
I'd never even thought about it like that.
You know, it's like islanders, you know, making noise, and then you got brothers, you know, making a noise. But at the same time, you know, not saying that there aren't any African artists doing their thing. You know, you got your JC, your
Young
DSPs,
Six.
and Young Six, your Baby Princes, BBGB as well. That whole crew. But I think just like, I think that's our advantage over a lot of other places, is that literally here, everyone gets a fair go. You know, regardless of where you're from, you know, everyone gets a fair go in this music, you know, and it's all just based on who resonates with it the most, you know. Everyone gets a real fair go, and it shows in the art, you know, in the culture. You know, we're the only place that you can grow up with, like, you know, like you said, Lebanese, Pacific Islander,
anyway, right?
You know, like Greek, Maltese, and next to, like, you know, growing up with like Indian friends and Chinese friends, you know, and then also like
K-pop, even like that.
You know, like you know, the whole Korean community in Strathfield, you know, like Vietnamese in Cabramatta, you know, like all these.
When Lip said he was from Cabramatta, that was like I think that was like, for a lot of people, they were like, oh fuck, like it isn't. It wasn't what they expected. I think they expected him to be more from Western Sydney. Yeah,
more from like Mountie and stuff. Yeah. But it's like, they go out there, you know. Things like that, like
that's shit that's hard to replicate in like America and whatnot.
Yeah, to be honest, it is. It's like, it's not as integrated. You know?
Yeah. That's what I'd say to answer the question, is the integration and acceptance of each other's like unique takes and brings to the game. Like, what can other cities and hubs learn from our success?
100%
is that we like accept each other more than anything else in terms of when it comes to nationality, especially and culture. I think there could be other scenes that do that as well. When you look at New York, it is it's very Haitian dominated.
Yeah, like Dominican,
Haitian,
Puerto Rican as well.
So the Puerto Rican contingent, like J.I. the Prince and whatnot.
Shout out J.I., bro.
Wow. What an artist, man. But then you look at like other cities that have killed it over there, and that's because they've got a more diverse range of artists from different cultures. I think that's like the key at the moment, is having a city that makes a whole like so many different sounds. I think across the board, that's like the big key at the moment if you want your city to pop off.
It's we naturally bring in those sounds anyways, because, you know, we import our culture, you know, and so when you just happen to import literally every flipping culture under the sun, it's bound to be a melting pot. You know what I mean? It's
the biggest melting pot in the world.
Biggest melting pot in the world, bro.
And then I wrote down, what's the dream for Sollyy?
I think I would just love to get to a place where, well, number one, my main primary goal at this point is to just do anything I can to have music pay the bills and live comfortably, you know. I don't know if I ever want to get fucking rich or nothing, you know, but just like live comfortably, you know, live comfortably, that my people are taken care of. And
I think family. Rich comes from like just a natural progression for a lot of people. I don't think like if you chase money in music, I think you'll fall short a lot. But I think if you just chase what you're passionate about for a certain amount of time, the money will come.
That's what I believe, if anything, you know, because
extra money's cool, and as long as
doesn't help. Yeah, exactly. As long as you know how to handle it. But I think I would just love to get to a place where I'm comfortable. Not number one, but I'm only comfortable if my people are comfortable. You know, like I need to make sure all my guys are taken care of, and my family's taken care of, and you know, everyone that I've started working with since day dot is doing well. But also I would just love to get to a point where, you know, like I've really built a brand of sound, you know, in the same way that, you know, you look at like,
I think you're already doing it, bro. I think you're already doing it.
Thank you, bro. I really want to just hone in on that. You know, you look at like Timberland, or you look at like Pharrell, you know, like there's a statistic, and it said for the Neptunes, Pharrell's group, the Neptunes produced 46 of the top pop hits on the radio in 2003.
That's crazy.
You know? Like that sort of impact on sound, you know, you look at like, if you think about it, like everything was being done by Pharrell and Timberland back then, you know, like you had your Justin Timberlake, you know, like it's like you listen to Senorita, and then Nelly Hot in here, and then like Britney Spears, and then you had your like Missy Elliott, and you had your like Nelly Furtado, and like the impact that Timbaland and Pharrell had on their respective communities, as far as, or the world, if anything, on this, as far as like, when you hear a Pharrell song, it's like, you know it's a Pharrell song. Yeah. You hear a Timbaland song, it's like, you know it's a Timbaland song.
Sometimes without the fucking what's that, like the watermark.
Yeah, you don't. They don't need a watermark. Yeah. You know, like, I think I would love to just have that sort of influence and bring like a uniquely Western Sydney sound to the world, and only people from Western Sydney know that it's Western Sydney, but the people from outside looking in go, where the fuck did this come from?
Yeah.
But it's undeniable that when you hear a song that's made by me, you know it's a song made by me, you know? And then bring that to international artists and really stamp myself as just like, I just want to like really build a brand for myself in music that's based on sound first. You know, that's based on, if you hear it, it's undeniable.
The two in the UK that did that well is Nige.
Yes, Nige and J5.
Yeah, Nige and J5. And then the other one I thought who created their own sound within drill was M1.
And people don't also talk about it, but 808 Mellow. 808 Mellow, Pop Smoke's producer. Yeah. When you hear a Mellow beat, it's like,
he was the middleman for Skepta and Pop Smoke, which is crazy.
Yeah. All of Pop Smoke's catalog is 808 Mellow. Yeah. And there's a reason that Pop Smoke sounded different to all the other NY drill rappers. Yeah. It's because of 808 Mellow. You know, those beats were so different to anything that, you know, the other drill producers were putting out that it was just undeniable. It's just that I would love to do that and just expand on it, you know. I would love to be like the Quincy Jones. You know, I'd really love to just do that sort of stuff.
Fuck yeah, man. Yeah, that's the shit. We'll wrap it up here.
Sure.
Where can we find Sollyy?
You can find me on Instagram. Currently, I changed my username like pretty often.
If you listen to this 3 months later, who knows?
Yeah, so you know, you can even find me on. You can find me right now on GW Sollyy. The GW stands for Greater West. If you know, you know. But I also go by Sollywood, so you can find me on Twitter there. SoundCloud is Sollywood. My Bandcamp Sollywood. You can find me on Spotify and Apple Music as well at Sollyy, SOLLYY. Don't forget the extra Y. But yeah, like that's me in a nutshell right there.
Yeah. Oh, quickly, hotter out west.
Oh,
can you run over that within like a
quick time frame? Yeah. We need Western Sydney's very own boiler room. You know.
Fuck yeah, dude. I gotta come.
The first one popped the fuck off. It was crazy.
Yeah, I saw Warua was here.
Yeah.
He's like one of my biggest inspirations.
Yeah, so he's homies with us. You know what I mean? Because you know we're just like, I think we're just bringing something different. You know, because there's also a point where you need to provide a platform for people to come and enjoy music. Yeah. Apart from like actually putting out music. So How Do Out West is our version of our boiler room, you know. It's our version of bringing West Sydney sounds together in one umbrella, you know. Also, we're putting on for local DJs that don't get a chance to play in the city. Fuck yeah. We're also putting on for a chance for sounds as well. We're also playing the role that is sort of forgotten about now, the role of the DJ. You know, the DJs used to break songs in the club. They used to introduce songs in the club, and then that's how songs would get popular. You know, like that's how they would do it in America. You know, like they would play a Ciara song in the club, and then if it popped off, that's like, oh, okay, we know this is gonna do well on the radio. Yeah, it's like bringing that here. You know, we're starting to play Aussie songs in the club. Starting to play like, it's just making it normal. You know, not making it like it's cool. You know, but it's normal now. You're gonna hear this Aussie sound with all these different songs from all over the world, and it's gonna be all under the umbrella of Western Sydney. You know, so I think we're doing something really different. I think we've got a lot of really good brands, and I think, you know, the sky is only the limit for. I know we definitely want to stay here for a bit. I want to keep hosting events in this space, but I just know when it's time to expand, it's gonna be like we're opening the floodgates type thing.
Yeah, you know? Fucking earth. So that's Hotter Out West in a nutshell.
That's that.
I gotta come. When's the next one?
I'm not gonna say the date, but let's just say November. I won't say the exact date, but November.
Fucking earth. Yeah. All right. As always, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. Before you know it, the basketball shirts will be out, new trucker caps as well, and puff print t-shirts. Thanks for watching once again. Thanks for hopping on, brother. Appreciate it.
Bro, anytime, bro. Thank you.
No worries. See you next week.
It's good, bro. Good questions. Like, good. Like.